What's going on, guys? It's QG and we're back with part 3 of the, I'm just gonna call it the $400 PC build series at this point. Right here I got this is the Inland NVMe SSD terabyte. This has a 5,000 read speed, so we're gonna be trying to install this today into the actual motherboard. And then we also have the Ripjaws G-Skill DDR4 16GB RAM that we're going to be trying to install today. So I want to get both of these into the motherboard. This I'm actually glad that I was able to get. I got both of these at pretty good deals. This was only like, the RAM was only like $39.99, and then this was like 40 something bucks. Actually, it was on sale. I got both of these at Micro Center, so shout out to them. And this was actually in the back, and the guy actually helped. I was trying to get a different SSD, but he was like, yo, for like $5 you can actually get something way better. And I was like, oh, word? And he came back with this, and I was like, yes, absolutely. I also would love to show you guys the case today, and then I want to actually hopefully install the actual motherboard into the case today. So yeah, we're gonna try to get all that done. Yeah, it should be exciting, so let's get it. All right, guys, so this is an Inland X1 ATX mid-tower case. This ran me about $29.99, about 30 bucks. I was able to get it from Micro Center, and in my opinion, it's a pretty good deal actually. It actually comes with fans built in actually on both the front, 3 front fans and 1 fan in the back. Usually fans themselves will cost about 30 bucks for like 3 or 4 of them, so I just couldn't say no to this case. It's not the best case in the world, not the most beautiful, prettiest one, but it's got some decent airflow, and as you can see at the top here, it has some USB slots on the top, and it's a decent little case. It does have tempered glass in the front, and cable management in the back shouldn't be much of a problem. All right, guys, so as you can see right here, here are the screws that actually came with the case. And in the back, you can see that the motherboard is already on the actual case and mounted, but we'll get to that in a second. This part of the video is kind of like in the future, but I just wanted to go back and show you guys what exactly came with it. These right here were like 2 mounting like brackets for basically SSD drives, and they kind of went at the bottom there. And they basically went right there, but I decided to take them both off because I'm not going to be using SATA SSDs with this build, because the motherboard, I believe, has to actually use NVMe SSD. So I just kind of took these out. We'll just kind of sit those to the side. Plus it gives us more space. This right here was actually the HDD little mounting bracket. And this actually went at the very bottom of the case where the battery would actually be. And that's basically it, besides just the actual manual that came with the actual case that just kind of shows you and tells you how to mount certain stuff like the motherboard and you know, just certain other things, your hard drives and all that. All right, so rewinding back to the earlier on in the video, basically as you can see, the motherboard is already in the actual case. I was going to do this on camera, but I figured, well, I never even opened up the case really and like looked for the stuff or anything to see where like the screws or anything were at. So I was like, okay, let me at least do that and see what it comes with, and you know, just go ahead and see how to put everything in the case first before I actually, you know, start recording, because I really didn't want to just be wasting a bunch of time and wasting you guys' time trying to figure out a bunch of stuff when I didn't have to. I'd rather just kind of sort of know what I need to do and then just actually show the process of doing it and show me actually doing that thing. So yeah, but as you can see, I did already put in the IO panel, so that's already in the back. I'll show you guys here what that basically looks like in the back. So yeah, I'd already fit that in the back, and you just want to make sure that it's like a good aligned fit back there. And then I basically just already put the motherboard in the actual tower. So I really just kind of sit it in there, and yeah, essentially all I need to do now at this point is just put in the actual screws in all these slides. So that slot right there, that slot right there, there, and there, pretty much. Now I did get like 3 different size screws, so I just chose to put in like the second size because the biggest size was not really working that great. So I put in basically these size screws right here. I kind of can't really see it because my camera decided not to focus, but yeah, basically just little screws like that. So we're just gonna go ahead and put those in, and we're just gonna make sure we secure and mount the actual board. I feel like most people nowadays are getting the micro ATX boards, but yeah, I wanted to just have maximum expansion ability and all that. But as you can see right here though, this right here is kind of close to the fan and like this part over here. So I don't know, I'm hoping it doesn't get in the way of anything, and the SSD is like right up under it. So I don't know, I might have to put the actual graphics card in the other slot that's lower down here where the other PCI slot is at. It might have to go down there, but we'll see. I don't know. Alright guys, so now we have the actual inland SSD. This is the 1 terabyte with the 5000 read speed and then the 4300 write speed. So I'm really excited to put this in here. This is an NVMe as well, M2, so it should work perfectly well with this motherboard. I was a little bit worried at first, but after, you know, checking a couple of Reddit forums and Reddit posts and just reading the manual and everything, this should work. If it doesn't, then we'll just have to get a different one or maybe get an adapter or something like that, but should be good to go on this. Paid about $45 for this one. It was on sale at Micro Center. These typically go for around 100 or so. Maybe you can find one for like 70, 60 maybe, but yeah, they can be a lot more expensive than that. So I was pretty happy. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and see if we can get this installed, and then after this we will get the RAM going. So right here we pretty much have the Hyper M2 slot on the board. I do believe that this correlates with the NVMe support. Defo don't quote me on that though. I'm only about maybe 85% sure. Probably won't truly know until we fire up, but I feel like it should be good and should be compatible. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and put this under the first PCI slot, and yeah, we'll go ahead and get that going. But anyways, yeah, something that I realized is in the previous video there was a very small screw, and I didn't realize what it was for, but I'm pretty sure it's for the SSD NVMe excuse me, SSD chip to like be screwed in. So basically this little tiny screw right here, that screw I believe is the screw that we actually need to screw in the SSD actually. So I will be using that, and we're basically just gonna go ahead and open this thing up and screw it in. Man, I always suck at opening these types of packages. I never really know how you open these things. Guys, I had the hardest time trying to get this thing open, but there we go. There we go. But yeah, basically just slots in that little slot right there, right below that first PCI slot. I hope that everything like slots in perfectly with the graphics card, but it basically just slots in like that. And then we'll just be taking the screw, and I actually need to change the actual like, you know, head right here, but get something like a little bit smaller. And we'll basically just screw in that little small screw to keep it in place, keep it from like popping up. So that's what we're gonna do right here. And just put the screw on there like so. And I just got to make sure that I hold it down correctly so that way it doesn't like pop up. Kind of have a slight hard time right here trying to keep that little tiny screw in place because it's such a tiny screw. But kind of had a little bit more finger contact with the board, a little bit more than what I wanted, but I had just touched the metal, so I should be okay and it should be fine. But yeah, as I was sitting here just kind of getting ready to slot the SSD, I was really just thinking about how now really is the best time to build PCs. I know for me it's definitely something that I've always wanted to do, but I am glad that I waited because now I just feel like you can build so many more affordable ones, and they actually still be good, you know. And when you really think about it, that's like the brilliant thing about technological progression, like relative to economics. Like basically as like new stuff comes out, the old stuff basically just instantly drops in price. And you know, it's literally it just happens because it's not the newest thing anymore. But it's like, just because it ain't the newest thing anymore doesn't make it suddenly bad or not viable. So, you know, my whole mindset is like with this whole thing is like, if, you know, is it good enough versus what's the best? Because, you know, what I've noticed specifically with PC building and components is that the second and third best isn't that far behind, especially when it comes to like CPUs and certain stuff like that. You know, you almost never have to really be first when it comes to tech, because tech is literally like constantly evolving. So, you know, getting into this, you just got to ask yourself, like, what is good enough and satisfactory for me personally? All right, so as far as this RAM goes, I do believe they both go in this direction. And since these are like paired dual RAM, you have to actually put it in this little slot, but you can't put them right next to each other. So you have to either put it in slot A1 and B1 or a slot A2 and B2, which I believe those are. I'm going to slot them basically like this. I'm not going to put them in this first slot because it's too close to the fan, but I will put them in the second and the fourth slot like that. All right, so at this point, I'm just undoing the little clip at the top that basically holds the RAM chips into place. There's only one at the top, there isn't one at the bottom. So you just want to unclip that, and I'm just gonna slot the first RAM in the A2 little slot, and you just want to make sure that it's in there, you know, and just make sure that it's sturdy and, you know, fully slotted in. You should hear like a little clip sound or a click sound. Then I'm just gonna go ahead and put the second one in the B2 slot and basically just do the same thing. And then at that point, pretty much good to go, honestly, as far as the RAM. RAM is very easily installed. The last thing that we're gonna do for this video is just go ahead and screw in the little Wi-Fi antennas. Now, unfortunately, I did actually lose the video for it, but I'll still show you guys. And as you can see at the back, the little IO panel, make sure that it is fully, you know, aligned up with all the USB slots, because that can actually be really important and can really cause issues if you don't. But yeah, we have the two little antennas, and I do apologize. I could have sworn I had footage of me actually just screwing them in, but they're pretty simple. You just literally screw them in. So after doing so, you can see they just kind of go on the back and you can move them. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much this is pretty much what the build is looking like so far. Still need the power supply unit. Still waiting on that to come, but as of right now, this is what we're working with. Looks pretty good so far with the RAM in there, the CPU, and the storage. So I'm pretty excited about that. The next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna install the actual PSU when it finally arrives. Then after that, we'll be finally getting into cable management. I did get some other new fans that I wanted to put in it, so we'll have to take the old fans out, put the new ones in. So that should be exciting. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for this one. I shall see you guys in part 3. Hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you for watching.